What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. As always, before I get started, if you are new here, hit the subscribe button, or if you've been watching for a while and enjoy them, please hit the sub button. It helps me out tremendously. The like button helps a lot too. It just helps get the video out, helps get the video out to more people for more people to see. I will apologize once again for some weird lighting. I am once again in a different room today. These games, especially, West Coast Mariners games, end at 8:30, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and a lot of my family's gone to bed or is at least laying down. So I got to find rooms that are not occupied. So we're in a different room today to do the video. Again, I don't think you really care about the visuals. If you're watching these, it's probably just more to listen to what I have to say on the Mariners game. So, but if you are wanting to look at me for some reason, I do apologize for some of the poor lighting in this. The Mariners win 5-0, a really, really nice W over the first place Texas Rangers, a shutout win, a win that gets the Mariners back to 500. And once again, tomorrow they will try and get over that barrier, that 500 barrier, and get over 500 before they head back out on the road. That would be really nice. And they'll have Luis Castillo going tomorrow, so you feel pretty confident they'll at least have a good chance to do so. Let's first start with the obvious, and that's George Kirby. Phenomenal again today. 7 shutout innings, 6 hits, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Still only 3 walks on the season for Kirby. I thought his last start in Oakland, he wasn't great. He was fine. He was okay. But against a better lineup, I think he may have given up a few more runs. Just wasn't striking out a lot of guys. Still throwing strikes. But, I don't think it was his best stuff. I thought he battled a little bit. And to his credit, he battled and got out of it and got the W in 7 strong innings. That's a good thing. But today I thought he was extremely sharp. The breaking ball was really good today. I thought that mixed in with that fastball really well. The fastball command, as always, for Kirby was phenomenal. And he carves up a lineup that is, again, averaging the highest runs per game in the major league. So him and Logan Gilbert back-to-back, 13 innings in this series, or 13 2/3 for Gilbert Kirby combined, along with 19 strikeouts and just 1 walk. So they have done a real nice job against this Texas Rangers lineup so far. Like I said, it was a shame yesterday that Logan couldn't get the W, but George was phenomenal today. I said before the season, I had a couple, sort of predictions. I thought Julio would be the MVP. Now, these are biased predictions, mind you, as a Mariners fan. Thought Luis Castillo could be a Cy Young winner. And I thought George Kirby was a sleeper Cy Young candidate. And so far, I think it's true on George Kirby. I don't think it'd be the worst thing to go find the odds and throw $20 down on George Kirby just to see how it ends up. He's not going to walk anybody. He's not going to lead the league in strikeouts per se. Excuse me one second. Just had to make sure that door was closed so I'm not being too noisy for everybody. He's not going to lead the league in strikeouts, but his strikeout to walk ratio is going to be phenomenal as it is this year. I think it's at 35-3 strikeout to walk ratio. It's going to be one of the best in baseball. And while wins, losses doesn't matter, it does sometimes matter to voters. Not as much as it used to. But he is 4-2, so it's good to see that ERA is at 2.62. So a phenomenal start to the season for George Kirby. So cool to see how the Mariners have these homegrown pitchers with Logan, Kirby. Hopefully Bryce Miller is going to join that group too, and kind of be maybe the Mariners' big 3. Not that Castillo is not amazing and probably the ace, but he was acquired during a trade. These are the homegrown guys, so really, really cool to see. Just so much fun to watch George Kirby pitch. And just the command he has, and even when Kirby's off, you're at least not walking guys. There's nothing more frustrating to watch than a pitcher that's off his game and just laboring out there, not throwing strikes. So you always know with Kirby that worst case scenario, it's going to be quick, at least when damage is done. Bullpen did its job. Justin Topa did walk Marcus Semien. I thought he got a little, what's what I'm looking for? Not tinkering, but got a little cute with Semien, maybe nibbled a little bit. But, I get it. He did then retire the rest of the Rangers 1, 2, 3. So, including essentially getting 2 double play balls that just were either hit too slow to turn or, couldn't quite cover the bag to get him turned. So Topo was good. Juan 10. I guess it's 10. Is that how you say it? That's how Dave Sims is saying it's not then. I don't know if he's just saying it quickly and it sounds like 10, but Juan 10, is it 10? I don't know. But he was really good. Shutout inning of work, 2 strikeouts. Obviously, in his, not his second tour duty at the big club, but remember, he was traded for, he was sent to the Yankees, I think, in the J.P. Sears trade that brought Nick Rumbelow to the Mariners. And I forgot what they traded. Was he in the Paxton trade then? Was he brought back in the Paxton trade? I think he was. So good to see him up. Just 23, the stuff looks really good. And he got a couple strikeouts, so he's got some swing and miss stuff. Could be someone that makes an impact. Sticking with the bullpen, a couple hours before the game, it was announced that Andres Munoz will not begin his rehab assignment till the earliest at the end of the month. It's only May 9th today, so that means it's another 3 weeks till he even goes out on a rehab assignment. So at best, you're probably looking at mid to late June before Munoz is back. Again, it's these injuries that, and the teams are always going to put rosy colored glasses on about it. And it's not just the Mariners. Like, how many times you heard Pete Carroll talk about, oh, he's battling, we're going to get him back, and then you don't hear anything. But remember, it was just precautionary. Munoz is going to be back in 15 days. That's all they needed. It's why you never know. Robbie Ray, we thought we'd be back in May, out for the year. So it's why it's really important that guys like Topa, Spire, 10 have all stepped up and been really good, because they may really need these guys down the stretch. So Kirby, phenomenal. Exactly what they needed. And this starting pitching just continues. I know they lead baseball in F-WAR. I mean, they are just been phenomenal this year, that they're keeping the ball on the ground. Their strikeout to walk ratio is phenomenal. They don't give up home runs. Just this rotation has been magnificent. And it's good to see the offense finally support them a little bit. It was not an amazing offensive game, necessarily, outside maybe 1 or 2 guys that really showed up today. But this is, again, and I've talked about it a few times, this is a Mariners win. This is how it was drawn up in the offseason for them to win games. Was amazing starting pitching, home run mixed in, couple key timely hits to get some guys in. This was a Mariners W. This is how this team is going to win games. They're not going to win a lot of basketball games, okay? So, if you want to be frustrated and say, oh, they still weren't great today offensively, I agree, but they were much better today. And I thought, as we move into the offense here, thought they did a pretty decent job against Andrew Haney. Angie Mentank mentioned it in the broadcast that they had some decent at-bats, and I think she's right. I think they did. I think they laid off some bad pitches, swung at some good ones. They weren't flailing as much today. They did capitalize with runners in scoring position, certainly better today than they had in the past. Let's go through the box score and kind of break down where the Mariners' 5 runs came from. Julio 0 for 4. If you haven't yet, go back and watch my video. I talked about, is it okay to blame Julio? Real quick, yes. You know what I mean? And that's not a malicious attack. You can go watch the video and see what I mean. But for some of the people saying, I saw someone on Twitter say it's disgusting that people are getting on Julio or after Julio. Now, if people are personally attacking Julio, that's disgusting and that's terrible. But to say Julio has not been good, and that is one of the reasons why the Mariners might not quite be at their potential yet, it is absolutely true. 0 for 4 again today, and just, he's fighting it. He is fighting it right now. He's swinging at balls, watching strikes go by. Again, it's nothing to do with a work ethic thing or anything like that. I talked about yesterday the batting order. I don't really care about batting order. I don't know if moving him down is going to really do anything. He just needs to start hitting a little bit better. And that's all. So, and again, he had a spot, second and third, one out, where he hit a fly ball, it just wasn't deep enough. Now Garcia's got a cannon for an arm. If that's, Tony Kemp out there, maybe that scores a run, but even then, probably not. So Julio is fighting it right now, and the good news is, to take it with this, the Mariners are 500. They're arguably their best pitcher going tomorrow, chance to get over 500, and Julio has a WRC plus of like 87. So, in that sense, cool, because once Julio does get going, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully they start winning even more games. Ty France is definitely coming out of his little slump. That's good to see, because he was fighting it for a while. 2 for 4. He had the big RBI single in the third inning. after Julio flew out to Garcia. That was huge to see because they needed a pickup there with how much they kind of been struggling to get those extra runs in. Or that was the first runs, but you guys know what I mean. So really clutch hit for Ty there. Kelenic was 1-for-4. Glad he finished with that double in the ninth. He's been fighting it a little bit too. It hasn't been as noticed because Gino's fighting it, Julio's fighting it, Cal's fighting it, Teoscar's fighting it, Ty's kind of coming out of it. But Kelenic hasn't been quite as amazing. I want to say that. Amazing's the wrong word. Quite as quite as MVP-ish as he started out into April. But he's still getting some hits. He's still hitting the ball pretty hard. I think his approach has still been pretty good. I'm honestly, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little worried about Julio. I think that's just natural human nature. I'm not, in the sense of, if you're just an analyst, if you're just saying, hey, Jay, as a non-Mariners fan, are you worried about Julio? I'd say no, but just naturally as a Mariners fan, you're worried. Kelenic, I'm not. He's still hitting the ball pretty hard. He still had really good at-bats, so... and it was good to see him finish with that double. Gino's 0-for-4. If it wasn't for Julio's struggles, I think we'd be a little bit more, come on, Gino. And listen, Gino's not 25 anymore, so, there is, I think, a little concern there that, I haven't been tracking Gino's bat speed. I don't know if that slowed down or anything. But again, as a Mariners fan, as we've seen plenty of players come through here who just sort of drop off at certain points, 04, 05, Brett Boone, guys like that. It's another one's a little concerning. So they could use a Gino power outage here, or power inage. Get the power stroke going a little bit. That would be nice to see. Now, the good news for the Mariners is all these guys are pretty streaky hitters, even Julio to an extent, and Gino as well. So hopefully they just have a series where they get going. Teoscar was 0-for-3, did have a nice walk in his final at-bat. He's another one. The good thing, I know I keep broken record, but the Mariners are a chance to go over 500 tomorrow, and all these guys I've talked about are just not hitting. So just imagine if they can get these kind of outings from George Kirby, from Logan Gilbert, from Bryce Miller, Luis, and Marco's been solid. And then pair it with Teoscar, Gino, getting the long ball, Julio getting going. The sky is the limit. In some ways, you should be optimistic as a Mariners fan. Because if you would have told me all these numbers, I would have said, man, this team's got to be fighting 13-20 right now. The pitching has obviously been phenomenal, but you guys know what I mean. A.J. Pollock was 0-for-2, did have a walk, reached on an arrow, had an error, and had a nice sac fly in the 8th inning. That was nice to see because, one, it made it a 5-0 game, and 5's always a nice cushion because there's no one hit that can tie the game. Whereas 4-0, you never know. A couple guys reach and the tying runs up to plate. At least with 5, that can't happen until a run scores. So that was a real nice at-bat by Pollock. He didn't miss a grand slam by too much either. So thought he had some decent at-bats. The Murph, Tom Murphy. If George Kirby wasn't the MVP, it's definitely Tom Murphy. 2-for-3. 2 RBIs, a walk, and a home run, his first of the season. I predicted on Twitter that Murph was going to hit his first home run in the 3rd inning, and he just missed it with a double. I mean, it was the Would It Dong account had it as being out in 2 ballparks, so my guess is Yankee Stadium in Houston might have been a home run in, and then he finally did hit the home run in the 7th inning, which would have been out at all 30 ballparks, crushed. Murphy's heating up. That's really important for the Mariners. He got off to a really slow start. I said, listen, you got to give him a little time. He's coming off a major injury, hasn't really been on the baseball field for almost a year. Give him some time. He is starting to heat up. And that's really important because if they're going to get going against left-handed pitching where they've struggled a little bit this year, Murphy's one of the guys. That was one of the reasons why this team didn't make an effort, I think, to go out and really get a DH figure. Murphy's a guy that can do a little DHing. Now he's obviously catching tonight to give Cal the day off against a lefty, but Murphy is a guy that if he can start getting the bat going, you could plug him in there DH a little bit, and he can play. So really good to see him starting to hit. Let's see, what are his numbers at for the season? Actually, I'm curious. Just OPS. 677, which isn't great, but remember, this is a guy that probably 3 weeks ago was at 3-something OPS. So it's starting to come together. Caballero was 0 for 3. Had that almost hit by pitch, and then he walked back really slowly for his at-bat and called time. Caballero knows how to work the pitch clock. Not surprising that some of these guys coming up from the minors have a little more experience in how to, I don't want to say manipulate it, but how to work the pitch clock a little bit. So not surprised a guy like Caballero has a little bit maybe better idea of what to do with the pitch clock than some of these other guys who have been in the big leagues the whole time. Sam Haggerty was 1 for 3. Good to see him check in with a hit. Did they give him a double for that? They did not. I guess they gave him a single and advanced on a throw. Nice hit. Helped get the rally going in the third inning. Good to see. Good to see. They need with Dylan Moore out. They need a right-handed bat that can hit lefties a little bit. So if Haggerty can do that, we'll take it. Some good news is it sounds like Dylan Moore is expected to go out on a rehab assignment finally on May 16th. That's really good. If he can give you a 2-week rehab assignment, they'll be back by June. That would be phenomenal. They could still really use Dylan Moore. Even though Caballero has been a nice addition to this lineup, Dylan Moore is someone that could really help as well. And that positional versatility opens up the DH spot a little bit too. So I thought the bats were all right today. Like, listen, from what our frustrations have been, we'll take this. This is fine. Especially when you're getting pitching like George Kirby delivered today. So a real nice win for the Mariners. Get back to 500. Again, a chance tomorrow to get back over 500 before the off day and heading out on a road trip to Detroit, Boston, Atlanta. So a tough road trip coming up for the guys. So it'd be really nice to enter that over 500 and get this thing going now. So and then again, Texas has not announced a starter, at least yet to my knowledge, for tomorrow. And Luis Castillo goes for the Mariners. Again, if you guys are new here, hit, just, I don't know, if you're not, whatever, just hit like and subscribe and comment down below. I'm always down to engage and talk Mariners. Again, I just ask that it's kept civil. We're all adults here, or we can act like adults even if we're not. So, don't be afraid to engage, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the post-game recap. As always, go M's, and I hope everybody has a great Tuesday night. Peace.